Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to entrepreneurship than finding the latest flash-in-the-pan strategies, who understand that in order to build your empire, you need a solid foundation. I wholeheartedly believe that entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey you can be on, and it's my mission to help you make that journey easier. In this show, I bring together the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist and mindset coach behind this show, and you're listening to the Wired for Success podcast. Hey there, and welcome back to another Wired for Success podcast episode. Today, I'll talk a little bit about a certain personality trait and why that can make your entrepreneurial journey unnecessarily hard, lonely, and unenjoyable. No worries if you notice that you're prone to the type of thinking and behaving that I'm about to describe. You are not doomed. Want to know what to pay attention to or change in order to be a happier, healthier, and more productive entrepreneur? Then check out today's episode. Today, I want to take a few minutes to talk about something dangerous that I see happening a lot in the world of entrepreneurship. I see a lot of you high achievers out there who are constantly chasing success. Being motivated and ambitious is great, don't get me wrong, but a lot of you are doing it in a way that's just not sustainable, and that might cost you your health, relationships, or happiness along the way. I mean, when your business is your baby and you're thinking about it 24/7, when you're trying all the strategies and you're doing all the things and you're obsessed with making it work, what's happening is that you're starting to lose your balance. You might have noticed it yourself when you just can't stop yourself from instantly replying to every email or checking your phone or social media posts every couple of minutes, or when you're constantly worrying about your next steps to a point where it prevents you from being fully present during the day and it prevents you from getting a good night's sleep during the night. Something inside of you shifts. And I don't mean that in an abstract sort of way. There are very real psychological and physiological shifts that happen when your brain starts to crave its next dopamine hit, like a junkie craves their drug, and or your stress level becomes chronically elevated. And yes, you can become addicted to all sorts of things that are not drugs. As you probably know, you can become addicted to social media, you can become addicted to video games or gambling. And I believe you can become addicted to entrepreneurship itself too. That's something I might discuss in more detail in another episode, but for now, just picture an ambitious type A person who decides to become an entrepreneur in order to earn a lot of money so that they and their family are set for life. That person is highly motivated, competent, and competitive, which are great traits for entrepreneurs, right? Because you need motivation, skill, and a certain competitiveness to stand out in a crowded market and achieve your goals. There are actually a lot of type A personality traits that can help you become a very successful entrepreneur. Those are the people who are driven, who are ready to do what it takes to achieve their goals. They are hardworking, quality-oriented. They make lists and they plan ahead. They are always on time and they are usually great problem solvers. Yet that's only one part of the equation. There is usually another side to that personality type that makes life hard and stressful for them, and that puts them at risk of suffering severe health issues or alienate friends and family, or to achieve their goals but still feel unhappy and unfulfilled. So what are those character traits that make life so hard for a lot of entrepreneurs? Well, the list is long, but let me just highlight one of them as an example, and that is perfectionism. That type of entrepreneur is usually a perfectionist and they hate making mistakes. When they make mistakes, they feel deeply ashamed and inadequate. When others make mistakes, they are irritated and judgmental. And as you can imagine, that might lead to all sorts of problems. These people might have a problem with, say, procrastination because they always feel that they are not good enough and they need more time to prepare. They might get stuck in a cycle of learning and preparing and planning without ever doing something to move forward. And that's a sneaky type of procrastination because it makes them feel as if they were actually doing a ton of things because they are always busy, even though they're not making any progress. They're just spinning their wheels and getting nowhere because they avoid doing the things that could actually move the needle for them. And that's something that I've definitely experienced myself when I, for example, procrastinated by creating yet another pretty graphic in Canva only to avoid reaching out to people and generating new leads. Does it sound familiar? Is that something that you have experienced too? If so, let me know in the comments. What is it that you're trying to avoid, and what are you doing instead that keeps you busy but doesn't really move the needle for you? And sometimes people don't procrastinate. They actually get themselves to do the things they know they need to do, but their stress level just goes through the roof because of the constant fear of making mistakes and being judged by others. And that in turn can drain all their energy so that they constantly feel overwhelmed and worried and frustrated. But their perfectionism does not only make life hard for themselves, it also makes it hard to be around them. It puts a lot of pressure on the people around them to get things right and conform to their ideas and standards and to just function properly. That can put a lot of strain on that relationship. And people might start to either withdraw or rebel in an attempt to avoid that constant pressure. Do you see how this one personality trait alone can have all those negative effects in different areas of their life? The state of high expectations that creates that constant internal pressure and the worry that they might not be good enough after all that can shift their body's physiology to be stuck in a constant fight or flight mode. And that in turn can lead to a whole bunch of negative effects like depression and anxiety disorders or cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, gastrointestinal problems, eating disorders, hormone imbalances, insomnia, and so much more. So this one example alone demonstrates one of many character traits that can cause ambitious and mission-driven entrepreneurs to sacrifice their health, relationships, and happiness on their way to success. And there are many more characteristics that can actually add to these negative effects and can exponentiate them because the body and the mind are connected. Your psychology directly influences your physiology and the other way around. Does that make sense? So far, we have talked about an unsustainable route to success because you might achieve your business goals, but at what cost? And if you end up sick, alone, and unhappy but rich, can you really call that a success? Well, I don't think so. At least that's not my definition of success. Your definition of success might be totally different, and that's fine. So there's no judgment. But to me, success means achieving my goals without sacrificing my health, relationships, or happiness along the way. And that is why holistic health is at the center of my high-level coaching program. So what does that mean? To me, health is multidimensional. So there's physical health, there's mental health, and there's spiritual health. And all of them are connected, yet differentiated enough to allow us different entry points, if you want, to shift the entire system. So I would say that the lines between what can be regarded as physical, mental, or spiritual health practices are blurry, but everything is so interconnected, but I still think that those are valid categories. So to make it a little easier to understand, when I talk about physical health, I think mainly about nourishing your body and optimizing your physiology. When I talk about mental health, this is mainly about reprogramming your mind and managing your emotions. And when I talk about spiritual health, to me, that's more about things like values and purpose and relationships. So all of these dimensions contribute to your overall holistic health. In a nutshell, if you don't look after your physical health, your well-being suffers and you might get sick. If you don't look after your mental health, you'll experience a lot of negative thoughts and emotions, which if you don't know how to manage them, might turn into things like depression and anxiety disorders. And if you're not looking after your spiritual health, You might achieve your business success, but you nonetheless feel disconnected and unfulfilled. It's like there's this void inside of you that no success can ever fill. But again, as I said, all of these dimensions are connected. So if you neglect even one of those areas, it can negatively affect the other dimensions and in turn the entire systems. For instance, that's why there are phenomena like psychosomatic pain. That's when your emotional and mental stress starts to affect your physical health and you're experiencing all those physical symptoms. Those are real effects and they have been known and studied for a long time, and they work via the body-mind connection and via a lot of intricate feedback loops that connect the different systems. And I mean, there's a reason why they say entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. It's definitely an emotional roller coaster. If you've been an entrepreneur for any period of time, I'm pretty sure you have experienced things like obsessive thoughts or riding the wave of an exciting success only to feel completely crushed by the next failure or rejection. And that's why it's so paramount to learn how to manage strong emotions or how to manage your stress levels so that they don't become chronically elevated, or how to make sure your motivation doesn't fizzle out over time. And once you understand the underlying psychology and physiology, it allows you to be so much more flexible in the way you respond to the things that are happening in your life. This allows you to be more in control of your own experiences. You can learn to stay more open and responsive instead of having these knee-jerk reactions whenever something challenging happens to you. And that's basically what I teach you inside my coaching program. You might think you act and react in certain ways because of your personality and that there's nothing you can do about it, but that is just not true. What's closer to the truth is that you're used to behaving in a certain way. You have a habitual way of doing things, but habits can be changed. It might not be easy, but it's definitely worth it if it can improve your health, relationships, and your happiness level, right? So if you have any questions or if you'd like to learn more about my program, just comment below or reach out to me and I'm happy to answer your questions. So that's it for today. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show. It would mean the world to me because you'd help me reach more entrepreneurs like yourself who would love this show. If you'd like to learn more about creating a widely successful business without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity, make sure to stick around and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And why don't you help me spread the word and share this show with your friends? I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure your friends will too. Want to continue this conversation, build real relationships, and join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs? Come join my free Facebook community for visionary entrepreneurs. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, grab my free brain priming audio file for entrepreneurs and start priming your brain for success in less than 5 minutes each morning. Curious? You can learn more about how this works and download the audio file at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions. Until next time, bye!